Hey guys, it's Bear. It's June 10th, 2018, and yesterday was 3 years since I had my top surgery. So just like with any other anniversary, for me, it's kind of a time to reflect. And I started looking back at my timeline, and it's like, okay, yeah, 3 years ago I had surgery, but a year prior to that was when I was really starting to question my gender and start to vocalize that with people. You know, I had done a lot of questioning internally, but I started to talk to people about, like, you know, I think I'm transgender, I think I'm going to get on testosterone, stuff like that. And I found a lot of support. I didn't find that I had a lot of people, you know, pushing back on me. And of course that encouraged me to move forward, but it also really changed some things about my mental, like, outlook and my attitude. So I started to really think about that and look at where I am now versus where I was 4 years ago. And it's actually really huge. My life is completely different now than it used to be. Some huge points are that, you know, 4 years ago I was stuck in a company that had started to be, you know, a real drag for me. I was very unhappy with my job. I was very unhappy with the direction the company was going in, and now I'm with a different company. I'm pretty successful there, and things in my life are really starting to finally look up. I'm starting to be a lot more financially stable, but I'm also actually really happy with my job, you know, and I feel like I'm, you know, a valued player at that job. And looking back at those two differences, not only are the companies just different, but I'm different. You know, you can't blame everything on the fact that, like, I went from one company to another company. I made that change, you know, as a different person, you know, and I blame a lot of that change on my transition. So I really, really wanted to get this out there that, you know, before I transitioned, before I came out, I was so angry all the time, to the point that I was, like, actually worried about my own anger. I was like, why am I getting angry over these little things, you know? And I really didn't understand it, and I was already trying to, like, change my outlook, you know, and it was always causing trouble, like, at work, you know? And you start to realize, like, okay, that had a lot to do with how unhappy I was with myself, you know, and with my own identity. You know, when you are questioning your own identity and you start to realize you are unhappy living as, like, a whole gender, a whole, like, expectation, it causes a lot of aggravation, you know, and a lot of just noise in your head of, like, okay, why can't I get through the day without certain things being said to me? Why can't I, you know, why can't I just be happy with my body and my appearance? And why don't I look like other people who are the same gender as me? And people say things to you, like, to your face about, like, well, why don't you dress a certain way? Why don't you act a certain way? You know, people can be really, really hurtful. And so all of that causes all this stuff to start happening inside of you, you know, and there's a lot of anger in there, and that energy has nowhere to go except for out. So at any little, like, stimulus, you know, anybody who wanted to criticize something I was doing at work, or, you know, correct me on something that I was doing, like in martial arts or something like that, like, boom, it's just like there's no fuse. You know, that little stimulus, that impetus, causes you to explode outward. Because, like I said, there's so much going on inside that you're just ready to boil over, because you're right there all the time. And that's what was going on with me, you know. And so just coming out back then in 2014, 4 years ago, just coming out and buying myself a binder and starting to change some things about my appearance and starting to have other people validate that changed something really significant inside of me. You know, that anger just started to dissipate. You know, and that's not to say that, you know, I don't still get aggravated. I certainly do. You know, but not like it used to be. Man, it used to be like any little criticism caused me to like get confrontational and be like, well, you know, do you think I'm stupid, or do you think that like I don't understand? That just doesn't, that's just not even like something that happens anymore. And it really took me sitting down and thinking about things to be like, wow, that's not a thing anymore. You know, and it's like, yeah, okay, I still have aggravation, I still have like loneliness, I still get upset, you know, I still get bummed out like randomly like everybody does, but man has that changed, you know. And you know, furthermore, moving forward and getting on testosterone, starting to pass more in public, those changes cause people who weren't quite seeing it and were still having a hard time, like, they start to see changes, they start to hear your voice dropping, and it starts to click for them. That has only helped even more to change how people are interacting with me, and it's helped me so much more how I'm interacting with others, you know. So, like I said, just had some time to reflect this morning. Finally had a day off of work after like a really long work week, and I look back and I saw a lot of positive changes and a lot of improvement. And moving forward, I can only hope to increase all of that. You know, my goals are different now than they were 4 years ago when I started my transition. There definitely are things that I have not succeeded in as far as goals. I will continue to work towards those things. There's dark moments. There's moments when I'm like, man, I'm failing, or man, this isn't working out for me. I think that's normal. I don't think anybody doesn't go through that and just like goes through life being like, well, something didn't work out and I don't mind. You know, so I can only hope to continue in the direction that I've gone in the last 4 years. Continue to keep that positive growth happening, both as far as like finances and career path, but also as far as, you know, my own outlook. You know, I hope, you know, my next goal is to just keep that mental outlook positive and not let myself get dragged back into, you know, worrying and being angry when things don't work out. You know, I'm glad I took this moment to reflect on that and to see where I was and where I am, and take the opportunity not to kind of retreat back into that when things don't work out for me. Things aren't always going to work out in life, or goals that you set may take longer to achieve. You know, I just hope that I can keep this progress going, keep being positive, keep looking forward, and keep understanding why things maybe didn't work out and reapproach it, you know, and say, okay, how can I make that work, or do I let it go and move on to another thing, you know. So those are my reflections. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.